cinematic sin and age gap arguments.
On this episode of Simply Necessary Conversations.
So for trending topics, we absolutely, positively have to talk about Sinners, but in the context of how some people have chosen to not see the film because they feel like, from their Christian mindset, that it's demonic or that it's sinful to watch it, or they feel convicted or whatever. I saw the movie. I loved it, and I'm Christian. You didn't see the movie because you're a Christian. So
Well, that's not why I didn't see it. I didn't see
Okay.
it because I don't do horror. Like, I don't like...
But it's not, because it's not, in the way that you think, like, it's not scary. There's jump scares, but it's more like just like the element of surprise and the way they use cameras and the way they use sound in the movie. It's not necessarily like you feel like you left with demons or like you left possessed. Like, this isn't the Poltergeist. This isn't the Exorcist. This is more like Get Out.
Yeah. Well,
in a way.
I don't have a problem with Christian people seeing, whether it's horror or not, I don't have a problem with Christian people seeing horror movies. I just prefer not to. I mean, if you think about it, most of us have grown up with fairy tales and that kind of stuff, and, the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wizard of Oz, that kind of. So, like, I don't like to draw hard lines about stuff like that because it's imaginary, it's fictional. Yeah. So when it's fictional and it's being acknowledged as fiction, I don't have a problem with it. Now, what I do have a problem with is if someone is promoting witchcraft or demonology or something like that in the literal...
And see, that's the other thing, too, is a lot of people took issue with the fact that there's like not a voodoo priestess, because they're not in New Orleans.
Yeah, and let's not do spoilers because the movie's fairly recent, so be careful.
Well, I'm not, no. I mean, this is all in the trailer, kind of.
Okay.
And if you've been online and you've seen something that you may or may not have wanted to see by now, and by the time this airs, the movie, you have plenty of time to watch the movie.
Yeah.
But there's a woman in the movie who does Roots, which everybody Black knows what Roots is. Somebody in their family probably did Roots.
We'll say, well, hopefully not in ours, but most...
We know somebody in ours did. What do you mean? We're not...
I don't know anybody in the family that did Roots. I know somebody in the family that I believe believed in it.
Same thing. If you believe in it, then you probably did it at some point.
Anyway.
If you'll shuffle, you'll deal.
I will.
But my point is that everyone kind of knows in the Black community, from African tradition, Caribbean tradition. I'm sure there's a lot of it in like the Carolinas with like Gullah Geechee people. There's a lot of it in Florida just because of how many Black people are here. There's a lot of it in New Orleans, a lot of it in Mississippi, because it supposedly is like the religion of our ancestors. It's not...
Islanders believe in certain things.
Well, a lot of islanders tend to believe in like hoodoo or voodoo.
Yeah.
But people took issue with the fact that I guess was included in the movie, which to me, if you turn your religious brain off, and you think from a completely historical perspective, these people existed and these stories actually happened.
Now, okay, well, I'm going to push back on that. We know they existed, clearly, but was that character portrayed in a positive light?
Yes, she was, because my thing is, I don't think everyone that believes in African tradition is demonic.
I don't think they're demonic, but solely from a Christian perspective, that is something that the Bible speaks against, and Christian people are not supposed to promote. Now, do those people exist? Can they be portrayed as a character in a movie? Absolutely. They exist. They're a part of the culture. They're a part of history, whatever. But I think maybe, and I'm speaking without any real information because, like you said, I didn't see the movie, maybe some people took offense to that character being portrayed in a positive light. Because there's a difference between portraying the character and then making them a quote-unquote good guy.
But why can't they be a good guy, is my question.
I'm going to answer you from a Christian perspective because the Bible specifically speaks
But answer it from a Black perspective, because...
I can't separate my Blackness from my Christianity.
I'm not saying to separate it, but what I'm saying is that before Christianity was introduced to many Black people around the world, that's the only religion and that's the only concept of a heaven and hell or God or
and
metaphysical
that
surroundings.
On a technicality, that can't be absolutely proven because there have probably always been Black Christians or Christians of color. I'm going to say it that way.
Well, technically, there hasn't always been Christians.
Right.
Because in order to be a Christian, you have to insert Jesus into
the inception, not exception. From the inception of Christianity, there's probably always been Black Christians. And before that, there would have been the Judeo, which is where surprise to a lot of people, Christianity stemmed from Judaism because Jesus Christ was born to Jewish parents. So like there's a whole lot of going back and back that you would have to do. I'm just saying from a modern Christian perspective, as someone that has read the Bible, as someone that believes the Bible, promoting and or portraying any type of sorcery, witchcraft, demonology, spells, whatever, in a positive light goes against the Bible. Now, would that prevent me from seeing a movie that included those kinds of elements? No, it wouldn't. I could see the movie because just like I don't smoke, I wouldn't boycott a movie because
that's what I was going to say too.
If I don't drink, I'm not going to boycott a movie because somebody drank in the movie.
If this was a movie that was made by Christian filmmakers and it was broadcasted as this is a Christian movie that's teaching you Christian values, and then it included elements like that, then I feel like that's where you can take offense and that's where you can boycott and that's where you can like talk down on people that support it or whatever.
Right.
If that's your perspective on it. But a movie that's made for everybody, that includes multiple different facets of people that exist in society, I feel like you can't other people exist in the world and like you can't control that.
Own, but like I said, there's going to be elements and things in movies that I don't do.
That's like being like, oh, you're not going to watch Princess and the Frog because Mama Odie and the Voodoo Man. Like,
well, there were people that took offense to that one too.
But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of Christians who will be massive fans of Disney or Harry Potter or whatever.
True.
But when it comes to something, it's like, ooh, it's vampires in this. We can't watch this. And it's just like, it's the same thing.
I think it's a personal choice, but I would not boycott. Because if I had to boycott a movie that included something that I disagreed with, I would never probably watch another movie.
Exactly.
Unless it was a movie I made. And also, too,
I feel like, to me, shoot me, whatever. To me,
y'all.
That was hyperbole. I don't know. God, I don't want to die.
Because you know crazy people out there now.
But to me, I feel like it was a little bit interesting to see Black Christians criticize a Black filmmaker with a Black cast, with a Black storyline that told a very Black story. That was very historic. The movie was extreme. As a lover of history, as I minored in Africana studies, as someone that studied all of this stuff intensively, it was so infused with history. And it was infused in history in a way that didn't make you feel drained, like we were sharecroppers back in the 30s, man. Yeah. It was in a way that was just like...
It showed Black people that lived during the sharecropping time period without making sharecropping the center of the movie.
Yeah, like they still had happiness. Even in this movie that was very complex and like it had elements of culture vultures in a very, very interesting, unique way. It had elements of you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas in terms of... the movie is called Sinners for a reason because everyone in that movie kind of commits one of the 7 deadly sins in a certain type of way. And it kind of shows this is what happens when you feed into gluttony and when you feed into just, like kind of embracing something that you shouldn't be embracing.
All you Christians that are boycotting the movie, you are all sinners. Because if you weren't, Christianity wouldn't even be necessary. So like everybody's a sinner. I chose not to see the movie because I don't like that type of movie. I didn't boycott it because of that, but like I don't watch any movie if I can avoid it. Every now and then I'll, test the waters or whatever, but that's just not my jam. But I don't think just because those elements were in there.
Yeah, and I feel like it was so much more than a horror movie. Like if you watch movies like Scream or something, it's just slashing and killing and running.
Yeah.
There's no grander plot to it.
Yeah, I have levels of what I can handle. Like I'll watch an M. Night Shyamalan movie because it has a little bit of otherworldly in it, but it's not like make me scared to go to sleep.
And I would say that Sinners is on the same level as like The Village from M. Night Shyamalan. Okay. I would say it's on that same level. I just watched one
of his recently, and while it was not demons taking your soul and taking your health, it was kind of creepy. And I like movies that make me think. And he's a master of infusing cultural realities and history, and like there's all kind of Easter eggs in his movies that make it interesting. And it sounds like that's what this is. I'm still on the fence. I may end up watching it. I doubt it. but I may end up watching it. But I would
Yeah.
not. I would not jump on a boycott of it.
Yeah, I'm just impressed with Ryan Coogler in general for being so artful with his filmmaking and going from, films like Creed and Black Panther. And did he do Fruitville Station? Or am I making that up?
I don't know. I know he did
might be
something else
making
with
that up because Michael B. Jordan
he
is in
talked
it.
about it.
Going from movies that are like, action packed and somewhat fun and has that like comedic side to it, to going to something so dark in a way, but also like everyone said it's a mix of different, like it's basically a musical, whether y'all musical haters want to admit it or not. It was a musical with a little bit of thriller, with a little bit of horror, with a little bit of drama, with a little bit of a romance, and a lot of comedy actually, because Black people are we're just funny.
We're naturally funny.
And no matter what the circumstances is, we're just funny.
We're gonna, even when we are scared to death, somebody gonna crack a joke. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna have a good time. So I say, if you are not, if you're not somebody that's easily shaken or spooked or whatever, go see the movie. Support, recycle Black dollars, y'all. Because if Black people make movies and they make money, then more Black people are gonna get the opportunity to make movies. And if we don't, there's gonna be 50 films that are not centered on Black life. And if that one film that is centered on Black life does not get support from Black people, then there's not going to be any more Black led, Black produced, Black directed films. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I'm always an advocate for women, Black people, and even for me, Christian films. Go see those too, because because a lot of Hollywood is not Christian. So when a Christian person makes a movie, go support that.
Now, I'm not saying a Christian person that's not, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because every Christian is not the same.
Well, I'm talking about real Christians, not people that are Christian in name only. I'm talking about people that actually practice Christianity and that see all other people as
equal human beings in the world.
Yeah. So I'm only talking about not those people that say they're a Christian and then do everything there is against the Bible and the teachings of Jesus Christ. I'm talking about people that are saved by grace.
And Christ. I will say that in a lot of Christian movies and a lot of Christian-led films, there is not a lot of diversity. True. And someone made the joke that the vampires and sinners had better DEI policies than everybody else.
Yeah.
So if you want more minorities to accept Christianity and not feel exiled by the Christian community, then include minorities in the things that you're doing that are centered around Christianity. And do not exclude certain people because you're saying you're Christian and you're not for equity.
Yeah, well, I can't remember which civil rights leader said it, but he was like, I think he said 11 o'clock on Sunday morning is the most segregated hour in the United States. Because back when he said that, because now there are a lot of interracial churches and stuff. But back then, you had the white, because there were jokes about it in the community. We're being real. There was the white church, there was a Black church, and they very rarely met. Now, people tend to go to churches that are not segregated and people intermingle. Real Christians don't care what skin color another Christian has.
There's more than Black and white Christians, guys.
That too.
It's always Black, white, Black. There's other races that exist in the world.
Yep.
There are multiracial people that exist in the world.
And if you are a true Christian and you feel like somebody's doing something that goes against your Christian beliefs, you don't know what that person has been taught, what they've been made aware of. You learn better. You do better. But until then, judge ye not, lest ye be judged.
And don't infringe on other people's cultures to try to be a missionary and save somebody's soul.
The story is support the movie. If you can handle the movie, if you're not somebody that's going to be scared to go to sleep after you watch it.
And I promise you guys, it's not the type of movie where you're going to go away and be scared and like you don't want to go. Like, it's the type of movie that you're going to be like, Black people are cool. Culture is cool.
Yeah, and thinking about it. And
sharecropping. No, that's what you're going to go away with. And it's also going to make you talk about it constantly, because I've been talking about this movie ever since I saw it, and it's been days.
Yeah.
I might go back to see it. Who knows? But let me put y'all on. This isn't a sin. Well, not a sin if you're part of certain cultures, I should say, because it is somewhat of... Anyway, Tampa Burger Company. That's our Let Me Put Y'all On. It's, once again, right down the street from my neck of the woods. And it's just like a very cool atmosphere. Their food is great. That was probably the best burger that I've had in Tampa.
Great.
she was very patient with us trying to decide what we wanted
Made
to try.
good suggestions, and what she suggested was good.
And it's very Tampa themed. 813 everywhere, Bucks everywhere, Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, it's a very Tampa burger company.
Yeah.
They did. I feel like the theming was. They did a good job of making people feel like this is the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
This is the 813.
Whoever did the decor, top tier. They get a 10 out of 10. The food was good. The food options were good. They even had like vegetarian and vegan options, even though
like
they're
the Beyond Burgers and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely somewhere I would go. They had chicken. Yeah, everything was good. I don't have any any complaints.
And
I love that they had a variety of seating types and stuff.
And I think they had like deals on certain days, just like anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I like supporting like because I think they might have another location or maybe like a food truck or something. But I just like supporting local businesses in the Tampa Bay area because a lot of times we go to these places and we're like the only people in there. And it's just like, why are y'all not?
Yeah, and we got to support small businesses because big business is going to take care of itself.
Yeah.
When you find, even if you have to pay just a smidge more, like, no, they're not going to have, a $2.99 Happy Meal or anything like that. But the quality of the food is going to be better and you're going to be supporting. So that money's going to be helping pay for somebody's mortgage, somebody's car,
somebody's tuition.
Helping the people that work there pay their rent versus, a larger chain getting more and more.
That's barely paying their employees.
So anyway, I think they were a 10 out of 10. Love the food, love the service, and I would definitely go back there.
Yes, the food was, and I love that they stamp their like buns with the Tampa Burger Company. It's very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
But what had happened was, we got to get into the nitty gritty of it. So I'll do it in chronological order. And we won't just focus on these celebrities, but we're using these celebrities as jumping off points to have a grander discussion. But I believe Tracee Ellis Ross was talking with Michelle Obama and her brother on their new podcast. I could be wrong about that, but it was a podcast that she was talking on. And she's 52 years old. She's single right now. And she said that she normally finds younger men to be more appealing in terms of dating and having a relationship with them because they're less likely to feed into the patriarchy and they're less likely to have like those old school misogynistic views on how women should be and what, those like traditional values that aren't necessarily applicable in 2025. But then a few days later, Shannon Sharpe gets hit with that $50 million lawsuit. And everybody finds out he has been messing around with, wink, wink, a 19-year-old girl. And everybody is just like, now, come on, Shannon. And then old clips from Monique on his club, Shay Shay, where she tells him to stop messing with those young girls. And he's just like, but the young girls, da, 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 da. So everyone has kind of been comparing the reaction between the two events. Now, also, there is the element of Shannon Sharpe also is being accused of sexual assault. So that's also,
she said
causing
assault,
it to...
For those of you that didn't pick up on that.
Well, it wasn't clear.
It wasn't clear what you said.
Sexual assault. Anyway. So people are saying there's this double standard and why can Tracee Ellis Ross do it, but Shannon Sharpe can't do it and y'all judging him for... My thing is, Tracee Ellis Ross said a younger man. That lady is 52. She could have been talking about a 40-year-old. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly acceptable. Younger, but still grown as HE double hockey sticks. Mm-hmm. But Shannon at 56, I believe he's approaching 60 rapidly. And he looks 60. Is dating, or, was dating, allegedly, a 19-year-old girl. Mm. And as somebody said on TikTok, I'm going to be 23. I don't know a 19-year-old girl. So, where, like, I don't think it was a double standard. I just think the situations are different, is my take on it.
Okay. I have never dated anybody younger than me. I personally would not date anybody. I'm going to say, I would want to stay in a 5-year age range. Like, I'm getting ready to be 55. So I wouldn't want to date anybody younger than 50. Like, that's the cutoff for me. Now, if
but them young men be wanting
Look, and that's what I was going to say too. I get hit on by a lot of the older men, and I think it's because most older men my age are either A, married, or B, if they're my age and not with somebody, it's because nobody don't want them. I don't know. Like, I don't know people's circumstances. I don't know. I tend to get hit on by younger men. And it's funny to me. Like, it's funny to me. I like I said, 5 years, if I met a 45-year-old that was very mature, had his stuff together, and was ready for
it's just funny to me because to me 45 is like not old, but it's just like that's a grown man.
But like if I met a 45-year-old that was ready for a whole grown woman and knew how to treat a whole grown woman and how to date a whole grown woman, then maybe. But 45 and 55, 50 and 50, that's one thing. 56 and 19, that's your grandchild. That's the difference. I think if you're dating somebody that you're old enough to be their grandparent, that's a whole different dating younger. Like, that's a whole different thing. I understand what Tracee Ellis Ross is saying because, you know, in a certain kind of way, some of them are looking for a mama. I'm just gonna say that some of those younger men see you, and if you're holding your age well, you got a target on your back. They just want to shoot their shot. But if you meet somebody, you start talking to them, y'all having good conversation, y'all decide that y'all want to give it a shot, and then you find out that they're younger than you. If it's not significantly younger, maybe go for it. But if they're young enough, if it's at the point where when your grandkids come over, your significant other and your grandkids can hang out and they got all the same things in common, it's a problem. Even down to your music choice, your knowledge of history. There's just a whole lot that I don't see how you can date much younger and still be in a healthy relationship.
We're pretending they have conversations. That ain't what they be doing. They're not talking.
There are some young people that are mature for their age. There are some young, but that big of an age gap. If somebody is, 1/3 your age,
it just really gives. I'm trying to strike a chord, and it's probably A minor.
It really is giving that because, and then older men crack me up. Because they want a younger woman. They talk about older women and, I want a young woman because she this and she that. And they looking dusty and crusty. Like, you looking like your dad.
You look like you need a
you got a beer belly. You probably, that they want those young people to enter into a relationship with them that's going to turn into a geriatric relationship where now you got to change his diaper. Now you got to take him to the doctor for his high blood pressure check and all that kind of stuff. Like, you need to be dating somebody that is in the same space of life as you, in my opinion. A little bit younger, okay, fine. But if they are so young that you have nothing in common, they are so young that your children and your grandchildren are embarrassed that you're with them, then to me, you pushing it.
You're
pushing it.
My man is younger by 3 months.
By a whole 3 months. But so like if you're 50 or older, because I think a 5-year range, 50 to 60.
Not you trying to be a cougar to the 50-year-old. Oh, a whole baby.
To 60 is where I am. Like, that's where I think I should stay. But if you 40,
or you can find you
got it going on.
You can find you a little 80-year-old that got a good life insurance plan.
I can't do that. No, I can't do that because I've never been a gold digger. Like, I'm not. And some of these younger, bring that up. Some of these younger girls and younger guys are getting with these older people because they want to be taken care of. I date a 40-ish something or 50-ish something that's taking care of themselves. I'm not. If I got to take care of you to date you,
19
then we got a problem. I never gave sugar mama.
I don't, because I've been, everybody has been 19, but I feel like I've just recently in a certain type of way, even though it's getting farther and farther back.
Yeah.
But I've recently been 19 to where I know the decisions I made when it came to dating at 19 were so boom boom. It was so
decisions I made to dating when I was 53.
But I'm just thinking back to how immature I was and how stupid I was.
Yeah.
So there's no way at 19 I could have been dating somebody that was almost 60 years old.
You worrying about sunscreen to not age, and you got to put Bengay on them to keep them able to just move around.
They need the Viagra. I'm just so confused.
Yeah. Yeah, the difference between those two conversations, I'm going to assume Miss Ross is not dating a 19-year-old.
Exactly.
I'm going to assume.
But I don't understand. Or even Madonna. Madonna, it gives Predator a little bit.
It does. It gives denial. You don't want to accept your age.
Yeah.
Now, I don't feel 54. I don't feel 54.
And I will say.
But I am well aware of the fact that I'm 54 and I got no business with anybody.
And I will say, it kind of depends on how the person looks. Because I could believe that a young guy would want to be
attracted to her.
Wait, who are we talking about? Tracee Ellis?
Yeah, yeah.
I could believe that a young,
because Tracee Ellis actually looks better than some of these young girls that have gone out and done all kinds of stuff.
The outfits be
themselves.
Like if you look at her,
she looks good.
If you look at her social media outfits, BT, like she keeps up with the trends.
Don't hate on her. Because her genetics is working in her favor. But I could see
a younger person one day, a Tracee Ellis Ross or a J-Lo, who don't really look her age. Because even though they are, approaching the 60s, they don't look like they're approaching the 60s. Shannon Sharp look every bit of 56. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I mean,
yes, he does.
I'm going to say, okay, he looks 56, but he looks good for 56. I'll give him that.
You think he look good? Or he look good for 56?
Good for 56.
Okay.
And I'm not going, he's not necessarily my type, but I don't think he's a bad looking man. He looks to me, he looks very good. He's kept himself together very well.
I just feel like if he thinks about himself realistically, he should know that a 19-year-old has no interest.
Actually, I'm going to say physically, he's in better shape than some younger men. But he doesn't look like he should be with a 19-year-old. I can't get him getting out that car with them pants on out of my head. Oh, my gosh.
Because it just gave.
Oh, my gosh.
Unc, what are you doing?
Oh
where are you going? Why are you walking like that?
I think Shannon is holding it together pretty good. He looked for his age.
But not for a 19-year-old.
Not for a 19-year-old. 19-year-old wants her college paid for by Shannon Sharp. 19-year-old wants her a new car. 19-year-old wants to, go shopping on a shopping spree. 19-year-old needs to go be with somebody her age. People also threw in the fact
that Shannon sometimes in his interviews, I won't say has a tendency to disparage Black women, but he don't stand up for Black women in the way that I feel a Black man should. And this young lady was not Black. So people also had an issue with him not defending Black women just in his interviews and in, what things that happen.
Yeah.
And then he just, he don't.
Well, in the words of the late, great Angie Stone, Black brother, I love you, but y'all need to start standing up for us because every time something happens to one of them, they want to lean into their Blackness and want Black women to rally around them.
It was just funny that when all of this started coming out about how she's suing him, blah, 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 all of the Black women in the comments was like, this is not our fight. This is not our fight. You, best of luck, best of wishes. This is not our fight.
If you don't stand with me, I can't stand with you. If you're not there for me, then I'm not going to be there when you need somebody to be there for you. Because
I feel like sometimes he can ask some off the wall, he's trying to be Wendy Williams.
I don't know his dating history, but if I'm guessing right, he has a preference, and it tends not to be us.
I mean, he's an athlete, so surprise, surprise.
Yeah. It just amazes me after we've gone through slavery and Jim Crow and all of that Black people have had to fight hard for and work hard for. We went from Black men being lynched for even looking at a white woman to some Black men choosing only white women. I don't have a problem with you dating people of any race, but if that's your only preference as an African American,
it's just a little bit
Black
odd.
Man,
it's just
to me, it's insulting.
I feel like it's odd when someone just explicitly just avoids their race at all costs. If you're the type of person that dates everybody, or you have a certain type or whatever,
and it does. I love
and even I will even say that if you're the type to like a specific race, do not mention anybody. That's just you like them.
Yeah.
Everybody else don't exist no more.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Just
because interracial dating is perfectly fine and that's your business.
The only people against interracial dating is the KKK.
But
no one is.
But if you exclusively date outside your race, you wouldn't even consider dating within your race, that's to me self-hatred.
It's very odd.
That is very
for instance, a lot of people don't talk about it, but Russell Wilson's girlfriend when he got drafted was a white woman. Well, nobody cares. Why? Because he didn't make it a thing. It wasn't a thing. Now he's with Sierra. Whatever.
If I met a Caucasian man that treated me like the queen that I am, then I'm gonna rock with him. And I'm not. And there was a time. I'm gonna be honest. There was a time I wouldn't have been open to that. But after my interactions with African American males, when I brought all this to the table, I'm checking all the boxes, and they still can't get it together. If I meet, he can be Latina. He can be Caucasian. He can be Asian. He could be from Mars. If he come and treat me,
alien,
honey. If that Martian treat me like a queen, honey,
Stitch in them,
all of. He can't look like Stitch. He can't look. He gotta look like I want him to look. But I'm just saying,
Star Trek more.
Yeah. I'm just not.
What they be doing? Or is it this?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, So I'm not looking for that. But there was a time when I wouldn't have even considered it. But yeah, but I'm not going to say I'm exclusively now going to date white men. I'm exclusively going to now date Asian men. I'm done with black men. No, I love a black man. I prefer a black man. But I'm open to whoever is going to respect me and treat me like I need to be treated. That's where I'm at with that.
I'm with who I'm with, so.
Well,
don't even say nothing,
y'all.
Well, now for context, we have to say something because it's going to make it seem weird. He's mixed there, okay?
And you know I like
and she loves to crack a joke about it.
Crack a joke about it, so.
Not that there's anything wrong with him being mixed, because there's nothing
wrong with him being mixed.
It's just funny. It's just funny. Because I was about to say I love a black man, and I knew he was going to be like, well... Anyway,
well, now y'all know we're not racist. Like, we don't, like...
Well, what does him being mixed have to do with us being racist?
I'm just saying, you're not, like, you didn't say, oh, he's mixed, he's not all black, I can't date him. Like, whatever.
No, why would I care?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I tease him about it, though, y'all. So, anyway.
Every day. But moving on to Ask a Gemini. We had 3 Ask a Geminis in the pipe. So you don't even know what I'm about to ask. So let's do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. While we're on the topic of relationships and dating and, all the drama that can come from that, someone went on TikTok, a woman went on TikTok talking about her marriage, and she was complaining that her husband doesn't spend enough quality time with her and the kids. But the gag is, in the words of Keke Palmer, is that this man works 64 hours a week and he is willing to spend time with them, but he prefers to just be at home relaxing and movie night and, stuff like that in the house. But she wants to go outside and take the kids and they do a whole family outing. And people were just like, girl, be so for real. And then to make matters worse, people were like, oh, so what do you do for work? And she didn't have a job. So this man is working overtime to afford the bills so she don't have to work. And she's complaining that he's not spending enough time with the kids when he is wanting to spend time with the kids and her. He just don't want to be outside because he's tired. So do you think that she had a valid complaint, or do you think that she's delusional?
I think, in the words of the late Michael Clark Duncan, I's tired, boss. That man is tired. Like, you don't work anywhere, and he's working 60 plus hours a week to finance your lifestyle. As long as he's not on his day off wanting to go off and do something with somebody else, it's not like he's not spending time with the family on his day off because he's out golfing or he's, going out with his friends. He just wants to stay in the house with you and the kids. You better stay in the house with that man. You better stay in the house with that man. Give him a back rub, do whatever. As long as he's not abusing you, he's loving you, loving the kids, and providing for y'all. If he don't want to go out,
but I understand her desire to want to spend more time and do all the fun couple and family things. But if you want to do that, then go get yourself a job.
Yeah. Yeah. And or sometimes communication is key. Okay. He's typically not wanting to go out because he's tired, because he's working like he is or whatever. Okay. So now you sit down and you have a conversation and say, honey, I appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate you working so hard to support the family and making it so that we can have, this wonderful lifestyle, whatever. But let's schedule sometimes. I know you're tired this week. Maybe if you're working 12...
I think even that is doing a lot.
No.
I think even that is doing a lot.
Work 12s, let's pick a week where you only do an 8-hour shift, or, you're normally working 60 plus hours a week. Let's pick a couple times a year or a couple times where you're not working that many hours. Because, let me just say this, the marriage will die if she and he don't get some outside time. Maybe
I agree with that.
During, like 2 weeks out of the year, you're going to take vacation and you're going to do nothing but a week with me and the kids, and then just a week just you and I. They got to work it out, because, let me say, just being a provider, and that's wonderful, and I am wholeheartedly in agreement that a man should be a provider if he takes a wife and wants to have a family. I believe in that. But just being a provider is not enough. Mm-hmm. She is a woman. If she's not a robot, she has feelings, she has emotions, and she needs to have some time.
And she needs to go get a job. I feel like that.
She may need to supplement the income.
I feel like that
he's not having to
work
that many hours.
I feel like that's the easiest. Like, we're doing all of this. Make some money.
We don't know. Maybe she's not working because he doesn't want her to. Maybe he's a traditional man.
Okay, that's sweet. So but obviously you can't handle it by yourself.
No. we devil's advocate. What if he's working these 60 plus hours and she's not working because he has forbade her, like he don't want her to work? Because
Then that's a toxic relationship in general.
But we don't know this. So while we're judging her,
I'm not. When I say she need to go get a job, I'm judging the both of them because why don't she have a job?
Okay, so that's
if you're
what I'm
working
saying.
64 hours a week,
she may be like, you have sat me down. You don't want me to work outside the house. You have sat me down. You have wanted me to have these kids. I had these kids, but now all I'm doing is taking care of the kids, and I'm never spending time with you.
I just feel like they living like it's 1985 and it's 2025.
Well, unless actually they're living like it's 1950.
Well, but I'm saying unless he is extremely wealthy and has some extremely lucrative career, I don't think it's realistic for you to just sit at home all day and not. Then
we're assuming he's working those 60 hours because they need the money. He may be working those 60 hours because his job has that kind of demand. We don't know, because there are some jobs where
it still boils down to he's working that much because they need the money, because he could go get a different job if that was the case.
Well, and it may be that he has made his career his priority instead of his wife and kids. We got to look at it from both sides. If he's working like that because that's what it takes to pay the bills, then she needs to help figure out a way to facilitate getting some more money without him having to work like that. But if he is one of those where my job, my career, at the expense of spending time with your family,
I didn't even think about that, because who loves their job that much?
There are people, but I know you're young. There are some people that are so career focused, men and women, it's not just men, that are so career focused that they will neglect house and home because their career is their identity.
Under no circumstances am I going to volunteer to work 60 hours a week.
Well, but that's grasshopper. Why you have to not always think of it from your perspective, because there are some men that work those hours not because they need the money. It's because their job has that high demand of their time and they don't know how to disengage. So he and they need to sit down and have a conversation. If it's a matter of he's working like that because they need the money, then she needs to try to facilitate.
Even if, you don't want to leave the house, there's plenty of remote jobs. There's plenty of side hustles that you could do.
He, on the other hand, if he's doing that because he's just driven and his career has become a priority, he has to understand that wife and family that you're leaving at home and choosing career at some point in time, depending on what kind of woman she is, they might not be there when you come home one day. Because like even in my marriage, he didn't make a lot of money. He didn't have that kind of job. But like I truly feel like, and other people outside that was minding my business and minding my household felt like because he was a good provider, then I should have just been good. Being a good provider is fine, and that is a good thing for a man to be, but you got to bring more than that.
Yeah.
And then especially if you're a woman like me that knows that you're being a provider not because I can't, but because this is what we've agreed to and this is how we've structured the life. Because I can take care of myself.
I feel like it's not that difficult to figure out schedules and figure out how you're going to make something work.
It is if you don't have that conversation.
But what I'm saying is either they're not equally yoked or their relationship is toxic or whatever, because I feel like it's not that hard of a concept to grasp.
Well,
like me and my boyfriend have completely different schedules. He get up super early in the morning and isn't off on weekends, and I get up at a normal time in the morning and am off on weekends, and we still see each other like 4 days a week. Now, granted, we do not have children, praise God, but I still feel like it's not that hard to figure out. If you both equally want to spend a lot of time together,
do it, you will do it.
Exactly. If you both want to spend a lot of time together, then you're going to sacrifice a little bit of sleep. You might sacrifice a little bit of money. You might sacrifice a little bit of doing the things that you want to do, but you're going to make it work for as long as it has to work.
Because speaking on her behalf, I've been her. I've been at home with a child all day, haven't left the house, or every time I left the house, I had to go with a backpack with a stuff. I have been her, and then you come home, you're my only adult interaction from day to day for the most part, and you're ready to go to sleep. Okay, I want to go outside. I need some sunshine. I want to go out and be social. I want to be a couple. I don't want to just be a mom.
And from the kid's perspective, I wanted to go out and go to theme parks and go to the park and ride my bike and stuff.
There were, it got to a point where I was doing more stuff with you than I was with him, because every time it's time to do something, I'm tired. Or every time it's time to do something, I'm going to go do this. And it gets old. So I can.
And it makes you feel like you don't actually have a real family.
It's like I was, as a woman, you feel like you have become the housekeeper and the secretary instead of a wife. You feel like you are kind of there for a function more than there for love or for marriage. And then if you are dealing with somebody that does not know how to communicate, if you're dealing with someone that believes in putting a Band-Aid on a brain tumor, then after a point, you just get tired of asking. Because I just got tired of talking about it. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be the best mama I can be.
Yeah.
See the results. Like, I'm just going to be the best mama I can be, because like I'm trying to get you to understand that, the math ain't mathing on this time. So, and then when somebody only thinks that relationship means one thing and one thing only, and that relationship means communication, relationships means activity, and they don't.
And that's why you can't be with somebody that's not on. You got to have the same love languages.
Mindset. You got to have the same mindset. And when and I caution you, when you're choosing your mate, don't just go by physical attraction. Don't just go by, when y'all just hot and heavy for each other, because that's going to wear off. And he can get that anywhere. He might even go find a flying monkey to get that. But if you want somebody,
or a little critter, that works too.
Yeah, little critter, flying monkey, call it whatever you want to call it. But you need to find somebody that you're going to have a relationship with, a real relationship, and then and I'm going to caution too, do not fall into the trap of, the women, don't fall into the trap of just being a mom. Because if you let yourself just be a mom for too long, then you will lose your identity. I had to find my identity.
And that's why you kind of have to have a village too. You need to have a person that you can drop the kids off with, and y'all have somebody grown people time.
Yeah, and you got to have friends.
Like in my case, it'll be you.
Mm-hmm. But you got to have friends that are, because for a while, I knew every show on PBS. I knew every show on Disney Channel. I didn't see an adult. Like, I just really, because I am I'm a type A personality, I threw myself into being the best mom. I forgot how to be a person. I forgot how to have friends.
Yeah.
So now in my divorce age, I'm now rediscovering all of that, and it's hard. And it's hard to reconnect with people when you have kind of like, no, I can't go. No, I can't go. But no, I want to go. And then after a while, they stop asking you. And then now when you want to go, they already got a whole little clique that you may or may not fit into. And that's where I found myself. But y'all, I'm ready to be outside. And for those of you that are married, don't let your marriage turn into that. Don't work the 60 hours a week.
Or even and find couples to be for like something, so that way you have something.
And be careful with the couple friend.
Yeah, because sometimes them couples don't be happy, and then they make you unhappy, and then or somebody want the person you with.
I was gonna say, or them couples might have some different ideas about friendship. Because
they might be on some Diddy parties.
They be on some stuff. They want to invite you to do some things you ain't interested in. And coming from a little small town, I never thought I was going to see that, but I've had some of that, hey, and it's like, no, you got to run. Like, I unblocked some people and unfriended some people. Like, what's that song?
I'm swinging.
No, I'm not. I don't swing that way. I don't swing at all. Like, no. Keep that. Anyway.
Well, that took a turn. Gemini gems.
You want me to go first? Yeah. Okay, so if you are like me and you have costume jewelry, a lot of jewelry, stuff that's not valuable but still needs to be stored, if you go to a store and try to buy a jewelry case in the jewelry section or in the women's section, it tends to be kind of pricey, and they charge you for the way that those cases look. It's pink, it's bedazzled, it's shimmery, whatever.
Yeah.
If you go into the craft section of a store, they have those jewelry making kit, the jewelry supply kits for people that make jewelry that have lots of compartments and containers that are just as functional for storing jewelry. And a lot of times they're less expensive because they're more utilitarian. They don't look all fancy. You can also go, believe it or not, in the section where they sell the fishing tackle and that kind of thing, and get a men's tackle box. Now, if you don't want the one that looks like an army tackle box, whatever, you can get a clear one. But they still have containers, compartments. You can store your costume jewelry or even your real jewelry if you want to, without having to pay extra for the appearance of the storage case. So that's my Gemini gem. Get you either a jewelry maker's kit to store your jewelry or a tackle box that, is not so masculine if you want it to look feminine, but like sometimes they're less expensive.
Yeah. And then on the topic of jewelry, when you're traveling, you can use the little pill boxes that normally have like the days of the week. You done probably seen your grandma or somebody have it.
Somebody has one.
But the little pill boxes, you can put like your rings and your necklaces and your bracelets in the different sections, so that way they're not all getting tangled up. And even if you want to be type A and organize it by, I'm wearing this outfit on this day, you could do that too. And then that way your jewelry is safe and sound, And also, you don't have to worry about like somebody possibly stealing it if you're staying at a hotel or like going through security or whatever.
Yeah.
Because who's gonna expect your jewels and diamonds to be in a pill box?
People that watch this podcast will expect it now, but still, it's still a good tip.
Well, I mean, I don't really buy real jewelry like that, so it doesn't really matter. Anyways, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Period.